Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, welcome, good morning, everybody. As you know, this is a session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus for on energy-intensive industries ecosystem. We will speak about the current disruptions and what contributions can we provide from the cluster environment, from the cluster community, to the transition pathways that it's being defined at the European Commission services. Before starting, just a kind reminder that this session is being recorded and we plan to share it both on the channels of the European Cluster Alliance and the ECCP, the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. So if you keep with us, you are accepting that. We have today excellent list of speakers. We will start with Marek introducing and Titas Anuskevicius from the unit that is developing the transition pathway, exposing what is the current status of the draft update proposal, and we will have later three speakers from the cluster community, Patrick, Thomas, and Caterina, that will share with us their views and their proposals on this point. And after that, we will have an open discussion, and I want to, as always, encourage you to actively contribute to that discussion, not just to passively hear, but also to share your views. And without any more introduction, Marek, thank you for joining us again. The floor is yours.
So thank you very much. We are continuing the sessions on issues, challenges, barriers and shortages in industrial ecosystems. We had it on wood, we had it on raw materials, we had it on chips, and energy-intensive industries is the other one. This is a particular ecosystem, but I'm not going to talk about the ecosystem because Titas, our colleague from the unit working on energy-intensive industries, will present and state the situation. And I know that they carried out the survey and they have the staff working document on this. So as a European Commission, we have it was shared with you before the meeting. The main purpose of this meeting is to get insights from practitioners which are dealing and they are representing clusters in this energy-intensive industries ecosystem. We have dozens of clusters which are operating in the sectors, in glass, in chemicals, in plastics, and so on. This is a very broad range of actors. Energy-intensive industries are the ones without which our economy wouldn't work really properly. You don't have construction if you don't have cement, at least at this very moment. And I think this is a very crucial industry facing big challenges, particularly the high prices of electricity and the low need for low carbon emissions at this very moment. So energy efficiency is a big issue, and I think the marginal abatement cost for this sectors is very important. Why we have this meeting? In order to have the dialogue with clusters as who are on the forefront and are touching all these issues. So as usual, we have open discussion without limits, hard talks, and let me, without delay, to give the floor to Titas, who will set the scene for the energy-intensive industries. Just to tell you, we will soon publish panorama, and we analyzed presence of clusters in each industrial ecosystem. What is characteristic for energy-intensive industries that on average we have 80% of members of clusters are SMEs. In this particular case, it's about 60%, the rest are as well large enterprises and research organizations. So this is a specific energy, specific ecosystem, which as well tends to agglomerate in certain concrete territories. So it's not spread across like non-traded industries, but it's very much traded industry, very much agglomerated. So the specific territorial issues has to be taken into account here. So without further delaying, Titas, the floor is yours, and thank you for joining us here, and for Patrick, Thomas, Katerina, then later to discuss, and I hope it will be for both parts, for the European Commission and for the clusters, a very insightful meeting. Titas, please, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Many thanks for inviting us here. Okay, wait a second. I'm getting something jumping on my screen.
I am giving you, Titas. Sorry, Titas. I'm giving you the presentation right. I don't know if you have a presentation or not.
No, I will not use any presentations. I
Okay,
think
no problem.
maybe let's talk in general. Even though there are a couple of probably links that is worth sharing, so maybe I'll try to paste them if okay, I'm not so used to go to meeting, but there are a couple of things probably, even though Marek probably mentioned that survey and staff working document that was published in September, probably worth sharing if the link to the survey and the link to the staff working document probably worth sharing with everyone. So if we didn't do that yet, we'll do that as soon as possible. So, but coming back to basically what would be to setting the scene for this discussion. So obviously energy intensive industries is not something new. Maybe the concept of energy intensive industries ecosystem is something came with industrial strategy, but in terms of EAACs, how we call it in a shorter term, were around all the time. They are basically at the core of our industries, like Marek said. And if we are talking about kind of decarbonization, you will not have green buildings if you don't have green cement, green steel, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So, or you will not have green mobility if you will not have low carbon aluminium. You will not have low carbon other materials, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. So basically, EAACs provide sort of mostly intermediate products, which basically enable green transition for every single industrial sector. Defense, whatever you look, basically, you'll need. And if we're mentioning sectors, steel, chemicals, non-ferrous metals, cement, and it goes down the list of wood and so on, so on, so on, so on. So basically, all these industries are sort of really at the core of the issue, and at the same time, they are probably the ones that are hardest to decarbonize. Partly because what the name says, energy intensive, and and basically our dependency on fossil fuels is really a difficult one to get rid of. At the same time, competing with fossil fuel based products in the market. So energy intensive industries, as I say, they were around, and obviously we were dealing with them for quite a long time. But already before the Green Deal, before 2018, there was an idea of really looking how we're going to decarbonize these industries. And very interesting document that what came out, basically out of high-level group on energy intensive industries. It was a master plan on transition of EAACs, which basically covered already the part of green transition, circularity, what is really needed for that to happen. A couple of years already passed since it was published, but at the same time, most things are definitely still applicable, and they're still at the base of what transition pathway for EAACs should be, or what should entail, and what is needed. But now looking at what transition pathways that will be developed for at least for key industrial ecosystems, but eventually probably for all of them. for all 14 industrial ecosystems. That concept of transition pathway goes even further than what master plan was covering. So what we're looking at is adding our key crucial sort of dimensions is digitalization, and one which is probably even more crucial at the moment, going through either energy crisis or through shortages, is the one on resilience. So in addition to sort of green transition, what we're really looking into is to cover other two key things that we think is really crucial for the transition, for dual transition, green and digital transition of EAACs by 2050. So that's basically sort of setting where it's coming from and where we're trying to go. So in terms of transition pathway process, what we did for EAI so far, we started preparing before the summer, and we published by the end of September a staff working document, which is basically a sort of a starting point of putting things on the table, what we think the Commission thinks are relevant to look at. And we basically, it's a starting point for co-creation of transition pathway for EIs. And from there on, we're basically looking for industry and other stakeholders to basically to chip in and to really look into the issues that we sort of raised, and to add much more meat on the bone from what was put in the staff working document. So we're basically looking for things like KPIs. We're looking for things like pledges from industries to see what they're gonna do themselves. And as I mentioned, master plan already sort of, we already know, the big item points. So it's no value realistically to say, that energy intensive industries need cheap energy in order to be competitive, in order to be able to transition to carbon neutrality or climate neutrality. So that kind of sort of generic statements basically have very little value, because we already know that. It's clear, Commission said that, industry said that themselves already in the past. So what we're really looking is to go beyond that. So we know that we will need low energy, we need new markets, we need markets for dedicated markets for low carbon products, because if you talk about a ton of steel, low carbon steel or normal steel looks the same, does the same things, very difficult to distinguish, but the green version is costing more to produce, and if you put it on a market without any kind of distinction, it's going to be very, very difficult to sell, because we know, even though at the end of the day, low carbon car or low carbon building for the final consumer, it might not cost that much more, but at intermediate level, where where you have sort of steel market or cement market, every cent counts, and every percentage higher price is basically extremely difficult to pass to final customer at this stage. And that is sort of, we clearly know about it already, and Commission is definitely working on that, on making sure that we have dedicated markets for green versions of the products, which basically look the same and compete in global markets. So from there, as I mentioned, in staff working document, you're basically going to see sort of sections and the questions we're raising to our stakeholders. The survey was supposed to close by end of November, but we actually kept it open in part because of our discussion today. Because I wanted to give you a chance, if you didn't have opportunity, to maybe look into it and maybe provide dedicated sort of well thought and well targeted suggestions of basically answers to the key questions we basically put in survey that basically would allow you to sort of contribute to this, and so that we could take that into consideration when developing transition pathways. So in terms of process, the main, as I mentioned, energy-intensive industries, basically, we already work with them a lot through high-level group on energy-intensive industries. It is basically advisory advisory group to the Commission, made up of basically associations of energy-intensive industries, as well as banks, research institutes, non-government organizations, member states. So basically, there we already have sort of a good setup of really very well-targeted stakeholders who are dealing with EAIs or EAIs themselves. And they were the ones who basically worked on master plans. So they probably will continue to be our sort of main counterpart in developing transition pathway. But at the same time, EAI ecosystem is broader than just EAIs. It includes also raw materials activities. So we also have EAP on raw materials. So basically another high level group, which was always dedicated for many years on issues on raw materials. And we also have basically a group on wood-based industries. So putting together basically these three sort of stakeholder gatherings cover quite well EAI ecosystem. So basically what we're doing now, we, after publishing a staff working document, we obviously spoke with energy intensive industries through high level group, and we're basically going to work on sort of preparing, going beyond what is in staff working document, adding detail, adding things that we think will matter for the transition of energy intensive industries ecosystem. And we were basically waiting, partly because we're waiting for the results of a targeted consultation with stakeholders, but partly also because EAIs were extremely concerned with energy crisis, and we're still working through Fit for 55 package and its implications for themselves. So we didn't have a time to really start the work in depth on the transition pathway, going beyond where we are with staff working document. So from this perspective, your contributions, your views are still definitely not too late to send to us. And this is why basically we kept your survey open at this stage. So the idea is we will, after on our side of Christmas and New Year holidays, we'll start working with EAI's high level group on the transition pathway, as and probably industry days. We'll have an event there in February. Will be also sort of a key reflection point of see where we are by then, and what is further needed in order to finalize it as soon as possible thereafter. So basically, we're looking at early part of next year for finalization of work. And as I mentioned, all your contributions are definitely very welcome. But please understand that we definitely looking, maybe except resilience and digitalization, where sort of we lacked sort of general overview type of thing. It is definitely already mentioned in master plan, but not developed in detail in the past. But we are at the stage beyond of sort of, as I mentioned, sort of generic statements, and we really need to look into detail what is needed, what has to happen, and we're looking for basically what industry can do, what likely KPIs that we need to look at, what pledges different industries and companies could submit in order to support this process. Which I mean green and digital transition and resilience building by 2030, 2050. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions, please ask, and we're happy to participate in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Titas, for this introduction. We will try to be as concrete as possible and to provide deep insight. Okay, so in order to do that, we have with us today speakers from the clusters community, and the first one is Patrick Villemort from Polymeris. Bonjour, Patrick. I'm giving you the presentation rights. Oh no, you have them. You are muted, Patrick.
Yes, good morning, thank you. Do you see my screen, Antonio?
Let's see, sorry. Not yet. Now.
Now, yeah.
Now, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation again. Thank you, Antonio. And I will be quick, and thank you to Titas and Marek for setting the scene about today's session. I will report to our own point of view and experience in these main challenges of intensive industries and transition pathways. And we had last year, and I think this year we had a previous session on the matter. So I picked up as a reminder what we discussed last time, and that is, I'm convinced, fully relevant of today's discussion concerning this mapping master plan that has been set up and published a couple of months ago related to this industry. And what I like with this sketch, and it's come really close to the Titas comment, is energy intensive industry are, let's say, very much interconnected themselves, and as they have covering a very broad range of different kind of, let's say, sectors. A lot of related to raw material. You mentioned steel, cement, wood, plastics, and so on. And also, as Titas mentioned it, this industry that are interconnected are a key enabler for end markets, and especially green transition of mobility, of building and construction, and so on. So we have to deal with such a very broad scope. And we had, in a previous session, I thank you to Marek, we had a quick snatch, let's say, review at that time of clusters, as we are, Polymeris, we are a French-based cluster, and we had information from the Commission that there are, as a core, there are more than, let's say, 70 clusters in a European landscape devoted to directly or indirectly to cluster energy intensive. And we come back again to these main pillars related to paper, mining, chemicals, and so on. So we are one of these clusters ourselves, and I will just give our own perspective on these big challenges. mentioned before. In our case, we are a specific area of this energy-intensive industry, material-based cluster. Our focus is polymers. Polymer meaning composite, plastics, rubbers. And as for any other energy-intensive industry, we are connected and involved in the many markets and many applications. Of course, plastics are everywhere, composite as well, and of course, our focus as cluster is really to develop the ecosystem of our company, our research center, to take initiative for the main challenges of these end markets, with differences depending on the requirement of this market. But of course, as you said, carbon neutrality is really a bottom line for all these markets. The technology connected to this sector and these challenges are summarized here. We have a strong activity in the field of and many challenges related to the material itself, the raw material, and we are definitely involved. This sector is definitely connected to chemical industry. That is definitely an energy-intensive industry, and with new development, and I will come to it after. We have also a stronger focus on manufacturing processes, where they are acting tier one or large company, but also a lot of SMEs that are transforming material to find finished products, and of course the challenge related to the market is to bring added value to the customer, to the user, by integrating function. So this is also a very strong it's a priority these days. Functionalization, especially related to end of life, not only, but to deal with the sorting, to the treatment of waste, and to the rebuilding of material. Traceability, safety is a key issue. And among the two general challenges that are, of course, back of all this is circular economy and digital transition are also a strong, let's say, common priorities. So before just highlighting one example that is ongoing, I picked up from the staff working document some let's say challenges and related to disruption or situation of this industry of energy intensive industries, and how does it look in our own let's say ecosystem, and starting with this point of efficient investment in Europe for material and for production and supply. This is clear that as for many industries these days and the last month, there have been a shortage of supply. It brought a lot of difficulty to companies, but also to SMEs that are, let's say, in the supply chain. And of course, we are facing, it's not new, but for in our field, for polymers, for plastics, for chemicals, the lack of domestic supply in Europe. And there are investments these days. There are big companies that are say relocating or some production, but of course it's a long-term perspective, and the situation for the industry is really to be limited and to have the difficulty of supply of their material. For the second point, the concentration of, and related to the supply again, but in terms of concentration of partners, it's not new as well. It's for a long time. All the raw material suppliers have been consolidated in big multinational companies, and the connection with the downstream and upward industry, mainly SMEs, has been very difficult for years, and it improved quite, and the situation have moved in the last months related to the situation, to the need of the end market to have a complete, let's say, continuous supply chain from raw material to transformation to us, and so there are some evolution on the matter, but it's still it's a bottleneck. And of course, also for history, it's still valid. The relationship between the material supply and users are not only, but mainly cost-driven. And of course, it explained for years the supply in Asia and elsewhere. So it's something that can be reconsidered these days. Concerning critical raw material, and we have in our case we have a hot topic these days related to the need of the market to have green material, to have recycled and reused material, and the situation that the supply chain is not mature enough, and there are very not enough supply of the matter, and also cost issue, as recycled material are more expensive than the virgin one. And this is a current situation that is also new, but it's even getting worse based on the market needs and the priority of brands and big users to require a green solution, and the value chain has to adapt correctly. And for investment, to conclude, related to strategic assets is related to this the way, the structure of this industry. We have quite a gap between big supply and largest community of SMEs, and it's clear that related to new opportunities for new model, especially in the green transition, related to recycling of material, to development of supply of recycled material. There are high international investment. Japanese, Asia, Middle East are investing a lot in this area, and of course it's an opportunity for SMEs and startups in Europe, but also it can be a threat to not to be big enough at the right time, or to be acquired by such a big company. So to conclude this, it's a quick, let's say, only a food for thought for the meeting, but related to investment, the next step and that could help our industry is really to support, find a way to promote relocalization of production unit in Europe. It's clear in our field. There is also a need to adapt or tune or to tailor a business model, revise business model in the value chain. Again, in this link between and the win-win, I would say, solution for along the value chain. And we have also, and we are very much focusing ourselves on the matter on the developing through the Green Deal call and others solution related to a new kind of supply for the value chain, especially bio-based solution with our CO2 capture as a way to have a new feedstock for the industries. So this is connected to innovation, but we have to fast move to industrial solution, and also related to this support innovative company in the matter. To conclude fast, I'm sorry to have taken some time on the matter. Just an example among others, and that we work on these days related to recycling of polymers, and this issue of let's say finding innovative solution to the market in terms of new material and green material. And we have the opportunity within this COSME project with the Place Center in Denmark, with our colleague in Germany, in Slovakia, and us to have a Go International project on the matter. and promote synergy between our community for this to get the critical size for dealing with this recycling of polymers, the management of resources, all the supply connection, and the development, common development toward international partner. We have selected, and this is ongoing on the four targeted countries abroad: Canada, USA, India, and Israel as a promising let's say countries for technology development, but also for business development for our company in this area of chemical and rubber and plastic and rubber recycling. And this is among the example, and where we are grateful to have support from the Commission to have opportunity to, on one hand, to consolidate our own let's say sizes and resources between different countries in Europe, and to develop a business approach with international partners. And we are looking forward to continue to extend this in the Eurocluster proposal we had last days of the matter, and on such a very critical today's issue. So this was the example I wanted to share with you, and I thank you for listening and for again for this session, this morning session.
Merci beaucoup, Patrick. C'est magnifique, as always. Thank you very much. Okay, so we go now for Tomas Pusila from Digipolis, Finland. Welcome, Tomas.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Are you going to? Yes. Do you need to share your screen, or just?
Yes, I have a short presentation. So.
Okay. So I'm giving you the presentation rights. Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I had some technical difficulties in the beginning, but I hope that you can now see my screen. Where can I put it to the?
Not in full screen mode yet. Can you put it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying, but the bottom is somewhere hidden.
Perhaps you need to
okay,
share
now.
not only the. Yeah, now it's perfect. Yes.
Okay.
We are in the main topics screen.
Okay. Hello, my name is Tuomas Pussila, and I'm working as a director of the Circular Economy Center, which is located far in the northern Finland, close to the Gulf of Bothnia. And in the slide now you can see our biggest circular economy investment in our town. We are going to have a new bioproduct mill. The worth of the investment is 1.6 billion euros. So that's great news for the circular economy in Finland and also in the European level, I must say. But just as a background, what we are doing, and I'm really leading this circular economy center, and what kind of forms of activity we do have. So we promote, of course, the investments and export of the industrial circular economy. We do have companies which has made this as a selling product, the engineering itself, not only the end product, I must say. And of course, to enhance this projects, we must also support some pilot and demonstrations. And also, our work is to support development of the new technologies and products, and also the digitalization plays a very crucial role in this change. And also, we are leading the Finnish eco-industrial parks network, where we can collect the best practices. And what is the best word to define us is a playmaker. We are playing in the middle of industry, financials, and then also the authorities. And I think that this is more or less the case to make a resilient and competitive EU in energy-intensive industrial ecosystem. So more or less these activities are what are needed to build up that kind of ecosystem. And there is also a link to our presentation video if you want to see also more detailed what kind of activities we have done so far. But how can I change the slide now? Here is the loop where we are playing around. The diameter is about 20 kilometers, and we do have a really heavy industry in our region. We do have a steel factory, which is very energy intensive work, I must say. Also, we do have a mine in our region, and also this new bioproduct mill. And what is interesting is that at the same time, we are making a great amount of green energy in this bioproduct mill, and also we are consuming a huge amount of energy in this steel factory, as you probably know. And this is where we are playing around. So, and also we must remember that there is a very high number of SMEs because of this heavy industry in our region. And just to give you an idea where we trust that how the resilience can be made are the side streams. This is a picture of the side streams in the Kemi-Tornio region, and then as you can see, there are a lot of arrows going from company to company, and of course a lot of streams going around. So by our opinion is that we need that kind of semantic picture also in the nationwide level, not only in the local wise, and then that we can see what kind of raw materials or side streams there are available and how to utilize this more clever way in the future. And also we need that kind of player how we are in the middle of everything. So in the left corner there are the companies, then of course in the middle eco-industrial parks. We need the education and service providers, and also the municipalities, authorities, and also international networks are needed for the change and really to get the best practices out of that case. And as a short summary, of course the legislation and frameworks must support the change, and for sure we do need these playmakers. We are one, but we can't cover the whole Europe. So somehow we must find out the playmakers to do this in the regional level, rural areas, everywhere. So some kind of support for these playmakers are really needed. We must find the companies who are willing to cooperate and also to use the side streams and so on. Also we need things and support to produce new technologies, and for sure there are materials that we don't even know so far what kind of materials there are available and what kind of materials there are needed, and then also what is the source of these materials. I really trust on the circular economy also in that sense. In our area, of course, the steel factory, what I told you earlier, the price of the energy is very urgent. Also, we must remember that also there is a great need for the price of the green electricity. And in our region, in Finland, in the northern Finland, there are a great number of wind power park plants. So let's see how that goes. And any support to get more wind power is really good. And also speaking about the steel factory, I don't know maybe the hydrogen is the solution for the future to make a green steel. At least in Sweden, there are very huge amount of investments in that sense. But let's see how it goes in Finland, how it goes in Europe. But maybe the hydrogen is also needed because of this green steel. Of course, automation, digitalization. My background comes from the automation business, so of course I'm really keen to speak about it. But I really see that there are great possibilities to automate more and also use less raw materials and then get the better end products by the automation. And also this digitalization, it gives a lot of possibilities, but the one must find out the suitable solution. We can't say that the digitalization itself is the solution, but we must find out the one that works, and also which one is scalable. We must always remember that I think that the international giants, we don't have to worry about them. They really can survive in that sense. But how are the SMEs doing? And for example, speaking about the hydrogen, for sure it will be somehow future. But how are the SMEs prepared for that kind of change? And then what is coming? And also how the best practices are told to the SMEs. And are they capable to use these? What is the knowledge level of the SMEs and entrepreneurs? That's what worries us more or less. But thanks from my side. That was what I had in my mind. Thanks for the possibility.
Thank you very much to you, Thomas. And we will come back to you at the end of the session. I see that we are quite late, so perhaps I will propose for those of you that are able to extend the session for some minutes, at least 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know if it's possible for all of you, but I see that if not, we will not have time for the open discussion. Anyway, let's go on now for Katharina Ulrich from the Baltic Neck Plasma Tech Clusters. Catherine, the floor is yours. Do you need to share your screen?
No,
okay,
I don't need a presentation. I'm just, good morning, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. I will try to keep it short. As Antonio said, we are running out of time. So just very quickly to myself, I'm working as a project manager for BalticNet Plasma Tech. It's a plasma technology cluster with 75 partners from 17 different countries all over Europe and the world as well. So we are not a regional or not even a national cluster, due to the technology of plasma technology, which is, it is a common technology, but yeah, we have to spread our wings to more countries than just Germany, actually. And I do not really would like to speak about the energy intensive industry right now, because I think we had two very good examples just before me. But I would like to stress more the part of the clusters, because as I could see from the document, that there are a lot of stakeholders included into the document. But on some parts, I'm really missing the clusters, and I think clusters are the motors for the exchange, and we know our partners the best, and I think we know what are their needs and how we can guide our partners to go through this green and digital transition, or even for the resilience. And for example, for us, we have in our cluster, we have challenge owner on one side, but we have solution providers on the other side as well. So just as an example, we submitted a Eurocluster proposal, I guess, like all of you maybe. So on the energy intensive industry sector, and for us as BalticNet, we have challenge owner as plasma technology to generate the plasma. It's the fourth state of matter, just if you do not know what exactly it is, so we can change the surface of properties. A lot of our partners are in the coating areas. So to generate a plasma, it needs a lot of energy. So the plasma, to generate the plasma, it's very energy intensive, but on the other side, we have solution providers as well, especially when it comes to the green transition, because we have partners who are working in the field of wastewater cleaning or water cleaning in general. We have odor, exhaust gas cleaning partners with us. So we are kind of in between in this. And as I said, we submitted a Eurocluster proposal. And I think that is a very good step for this overall green and digital transition. But on the other side, I have to say that the SME are just getting 60,000 as a maximum. So you can start on going to the demonstration projects. But if we would really like to come at the end to a green and digital transition and being carbon neutral by 2050, I think we have to go for bigger projects, of course, and I know that you are sure about this, but I actually miss a bit the link to the clusters, because I think, as I said, we are the motors for the change, and we can motivate our partners better than anybody else, because I think we are so close to them. We are working together on daily business. And yeah, I think at least when it comes to my partners, when I see universities and research institutes, they are pretty good in doing their own projects, and yeah, to coordinate themselves, even if it's sometimes quite difficult with research institutes or universities, as they are very much focused on their research. So sometimes you need to push them more to go into the market directly and think about the market. And on the other side, we can see that for companies and even for or especially for SME, it's quite difficult to coordinate funding projects, to write proposals, and so on. So I think this is always the connection what we have with our partners, that we will help them, we will guide them through all this. So yeah, actually, it would be my wish to the Commission to include more the clusters, to see more the value of the clusters, how much we can support our members, and how much we can support this green and digital transition. Thank you.
You are very welcome, Caterina, for defending our role. Thank you. And now the floor is open for all the attendants. Please, we encourage you to really contribute, to discuss, to challenge if you want what was said. Who is the first? I know that we have with us many experts on this area who could contribute with new ideas or proposals. Questions for the speakers? Hi, José Ramón, I can see you. Welcome.
Hello, Antonio. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm José Ramón Natal. I am the cluster manager of Metal Industry 4. It's the advanced manufacturing cluster of metal industry in Asturias. Linked to the comments of Caterina about the role of the clusters in this task, I'm very appreciate the staff working document of the European Commission, because he's very aligned. It is very aligned with the work that from our cluster we are developing in Spain. Since November 2020, we are working in a very big proposal to address to the recovery funds, the strategic recovery funds in Spain, and the role of some cluster of Spain has been to gather the different needs of these key sectors, of these key energy intensive sectors, such as cement, steel industries, paper industry, ceramic, metallurgy, refractory materials, all of them gather to tackle all their needs in the way that the Commission staff working document mentioned in touching all the different roles from the circular transformation of the raw materials, the energy use of the secondary flows, or the use of byproducts, to then link with the eco design of the products, linked to the climatic mitigation and the learning and the development of new skills in green and digital, all of them related with the energy intensive industries in this. So we have, I think, clearly, I think that cluster has have a clear role in this way. We can engage all the SMEs, because in this sector, even with 99% of companies are SMEs, the key role is the big companies, and we can gather all the most part of SMEs to work with the large companies in order to transform these sectors and make them more competitive, more green, and more digital. So I think this is a very good document, and I am very happy to see that our job that we are doing at Spanish level, and of course at European level, because we are working in one of the proposals of Eurocluster's calls in this strand as well, is aligned with the thoughts and the way that the European Commission is working. Thank you.
You're very welcome, José Ramón, and congratulations, because I know that your proposal for the recovery funds in Spain is strong and is joining a lot of companies in your region. So excellent job. I see a question from Patrick to Tomás. Patrick.
Yes, thank you, Antonio. Yes, I had a question related to Thomas' presentation. As he showed the global picture of the supply of energy for many industries, how do you evaluate or assess the risk in short term or mid term for this industry to get at a relevant price green, so-called green energy, and that will be let's say required or needed for all? And is there a risk behind this supply in the next years?
You're muted, Tomás. No, you're muted. Let's see if I can. Can you try now?
Okay.
Now,
yeah. Now I think that it was muted by the authority. So of course, that's a question what we are struggling with all the time, and of course the long-term agreements are a must, and that the energy price will or the electricity price will keep stable. But at least nowadays in Finland we are having a very weird times, because for a long time there has been an import from Sweden of the electricity to Finland, and now Sweden has thought that now no more electricity will be supplied to Finland. and this is really embarrassing for us. But of course the big companies they can tackle this, but it's really a problem for the SMEs, I must say. But this is something that is not in our hands, and also these wind park investments, these are going to be also in Finland and in Sweden. So hopefully in the future there is some kind of a common understanding about the working method, that the same situation won't happen again like it is today. The electricity price are extremely high at the moment in Finland, and this is really frustrating.
Thank you for your answer, Thomas. I don't know if Titas can stay for us some minutes more, or just Titas needs to leave. That will be the normal for sure. Thank you, Titas, for joining us. Do you have any comment or question for the rest before leaving?
Just can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Just a key. I think there was a couple of links posted in the chat. 837, 838. I think it's Nina who did it. So one is staff working document, one is on a survey. I really would appreciate, if you have any thoughts, any ideas of really going more granular way beyond, what is in staff working document, to really put them through the survey to us. That would be very much appreciated, because obviously, as you say, you have a knowledge on the ground. So if you think that it's not reflected yet, what's written by the Commission in the staff working document, would be very much appreciated if you could submit it to us. Hopefully, still this year, I will try to keep the survey open until the holidays. So it would be really great if you could share your experiences and your knowledge with us. I think that's the key for me, and many thanks for inviting me.
Well, thanks to you for coming. And yes, it's clear. So please, those of you that knows very well this reality on the energy intensive industry, take your time to go to the survey and fulfill it. You have all this week, as far as I understand, and it is a really valuable contribution to the work that the unit is doing, and that is at the end what will demonstrate our capacity to co-create with the European Commission that new knowledge and those new transition pathways. So again, I join my voice to the recommendation of Titas. Please go write, contribute with your knowledge, your ideas. You don't need to fulfill everything. It's optional, but please put in writing your ideas, your proposal, your knowledge. So I think it's time to close. Thank you very much to everyone. And I need to say that we had for tomorrow a session on standardization, but as we don't have the confirmation of the main speaker, that is a problem for us. I think that we will need to cancel it to reschedule it. And you will have news on that session soon. If we don't meet before the holidays, happy Christmas, happy holidays for all of you. Thank you, and see you soon.
Thank you, and happy New Year to all the group, actually. See you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.